21st, 2022 meeting. Does anyone have any corrections? Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
A second?
A second.
Let's take a vote. Okay, and the vote is passed unanimously. Now we move on to item 4, public hearing. Item 4A, public hearing, receive and hear all persons desiring to be heard regarding a proposed special exception to the rear yard setback for 523 Brook Street, Lot 5, Block 1, Belknap Subdivision, Section 2, in the restricted single-family residential R-1R zoning district. Can you see with the presentation?
Yes.
Thank you.
So like you said, this request is a special exception to the R1R rear yard requirements for 523 Brook Street. 523 Brook Street is located in the R1R zoning district. It was platted in 1950 as part of the Belknap subdivision section 2. And then in 1982, it was annexed into the city of Sugar Land. When it was annexed, it was rezoned to R1R zoning, which has a 30-foot rear yard setback. And so the request is a special exception to that setback in order for the homeowner to build a new residence. So when the property was plotted, there was a 5-foot utility easement recorded along the rear property line. The R1R zoning district requires a 30-foot rear yard setback. And so the new home that's being proposed is going to be approximately 12.5 feet from the rear property line. And so they're requesting the special exception in order to follow and align with the 5-foot rear utility easement, which would serve as that rear setback. And the purpose of the special exception is so that they can build their home around mature oak trees that are located in the rear yard. On this site plan, you can see that the home is kind of in a weird shape in order to save those trees. So it's going to be approximately 12.5 feet from that rear property line. And these were the elevations submitted by the applicant of what the home will look like. And then here's a Google excerpt to see the aerial of the property. It's highlighted in red. And so analysis of the neighboring properties, it appears to be architecturally compatible with the neighborhood. Approximately 5 homes in the nearby area do not meet that 30-foot rear setback of the R1R zoning district. And then there have been 2 approved special exceptions in the nearby vicinity. And so the criteria for a special exception, staff believes that those have been met. It was plotted prior to annexation. The recorded restrictions are less restrictive than that of the zoning or the zoning district. And then the special exception would not be less restrictive than the recorded restriction of when the property was plotted. And then the 4th criteria is detrimental to the public welfare or injurious to the neighborhood. Staff does not see any apparent issues. And so for public hearing notification, the notification was posted in the newspaper and property owners within 200 feet of the subject property were properly notified. There was an online form available for comments to be provided. Staff has not received any opposition or inquiries into this case. And so staff recommends approval of the special exception with the condition that the new residence is constructed in accordance with the attached site plan and elevations.
Thank you for the presentation. Is the applicant present or? Okay.
This is Jose.
Okay. I'm going to open the public hearing. Does anyone want to speak to the board regarding this matter? No? Okay. I'm going to close the public hearing. We will now move forward with consideration of and action on a proposed special exception to the rear yard setback for 523 Brook Street, Lot 5, Block 1, Belknap Subdivision, Section 2, in the restricted single-family residential R-1R zoning district. Let's discuss the first criteria. The latest recorded plat of the property was approved prior to being annexed into the city. Do we agree that the plat was recorded prior to being annexed? Okay. Second criteria, the latest recorded plat or other recorded restriction for the property establishes a setback or other regulation that results in a setback that is less restrictive than the setback required by the City of Sugar Land Development Code, Chapter 2. Do we agree that the recorded restrictions are less restrictive than those established by the City of Sugar Land Development Code? Okay, and go to third criteria, granting the special exception will not establish a setback that is less restrictive than the setback established by the latest approved plat or other recorded restriction. Do we agree that the proposed special exception is not less restrictive than the recorded restrictions? Okay, the fourth criteria, granting the special exception will not be detrimental to the public welfare or injurious to the property or improvements in the district or neighborhood in which the property is located. Does the board have any questions or comments? No? Okay.
Questions related to the fourth criteria, and specifically if staff could elaborate a little bit more on the final one item there, which is proposed house appears to be architecturally compatible with the existing single-family residences in the neighborhood. I'm familiar with that neighborhood, and just I'm looking at the site plan and just would like staff to elaborate a little bit more, because it doesn't really look like other houses in the neighborhood. I'm just curious how that determination was made.
So staff looks at the materials used on the home, the height, the form of the home, but there are, after the analysis, there are homes that do kind of follow that. They do, they were built to that 5-foot utility easement. So the ones that are highlighted in the yellow do not follow the rest of them with that larger setback from the rear, if that is what your question.
No, actually, it was more related to the look of the house. And I'm not sure if that, I know that we're talking about the easement, et cetera, but on that item number, on that last item on that fourth criteria, just curious if there was anything else that you could elaborate on there. I mean, it appears to be a large brick home that's kind of different from everything else that's in the area.
So there are other brick homes within this area. So staff does find it to be architecturally compatible.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? No? Okay, so staff has examined the proposed special exception for 3 key aspects. Number 1, public safety review. There does not appear to be any public safety issues associated with this request. Staff has not identified safety concerns as a result of the new house. Number 2, rear yard setback comparison. The proposed rear yard setback of the new house appears to be generally compatible with the neighborhood based on an analysis of the surrounding area. Approximately 5 homes within the immediate area do not meet the rear yard setback requirement of 30 feet. There are 2 approved similar special exceptions in the immediate area. The proposed house is in compliance with the recorded restrictions. 3, general architectural. The proposed house appears to be architecturally compatible with the existing single-family residence and neighborhood. If there are no additional comments, I would ask for a motion for approval or denial.
So I move that the special exception to the rear yard setback requirements in the restricted single-family residential R1R district for the property located at 523 Brook Street, Lot 5, Block 1, Belknap subdivision section 2, be granted with the condition that the new residence is constructed in accordance with the attached site plan and elevations.
Do I have a second?
A second.
Okay, let's take a vote. Okay, the special exception passes with 4 approvals. And is there any motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
Okay, let's take a vote.
Yes.
Aye. We need to adjourn. Okay, we're adjourned. Thank you. So let me just say, at this time, the March 15th, 2023 zoning board of adjustment